2018 Mercedes-Benz AMG GT Review. The good points of Mercedes-Benz AMG GT. Looks fantastic. Great engine. Involving handling. Clever chassis tech. The bad points of Mercedes-Benz AMG GT. Tough rivals. Expensive. Some interior quality. Small cabin. The stunning machine you observed before you could be the Mercedes-AMG GT Coupe. It looks great, nonetheless it'll need to do better than that. Its main rivals include the Porsche 911 Coupe, Audi R8 Coupe as well as the Jaguar F-Type Coupe, all incredibly capable and highly entertaining sports coupes. There are 4 versions being offered: the Standard GT, Faster GTS, Even Quicker GTC and Range-Topping Hardcore GTR. Big engine, big power. The basic recipe looks great. Power comes from a 4.0-liter, twin-turbocharged V8 petrol engine in all of the versions. It develops 476 horsepower and 630 Nm of torque in their lower GT state of tune. This means 062 mph flashes by in 4 seconds flat. This version is electronically on the 189 mph. If that's too few, the GTS uses exactly the same engine got here to 522 bhp and 670 Nm. That means 062 mph in 3.8 seconds and also a top speed tied to 193 mph. The GTC gets 577 horsepower and 680 Nm for 062 mph in 3.7 seconds and able to 197 mph, even though the GTR gets 585 horsepower and 700 Nm, hitting 62 mph in 3.6 seconds, having a top speed of 198 mph. Basically, this can be one seriously fast car. Focus on handling. For optimum handling balance, the engine is found behind top axle, which technically helps it be a mid-engine configuration. The weight distribution is ever so slightly rearward balanced, since powering the car could be the 7-speed twin-clutch semi-automatic gearbox, which sends power to the rear wheels. Making sure the mini grunt gets to the asphalt, there's a locking rear differential to make sure stable, predictable cornering as well as a three-stage stability control system allowing for varying degrees of wheel spin before electronic intervention. Mercedes is promoting a highly sophisticated suspension setup produced from its motorsport activities and, as is also de rigueur currently, drive modes to help you instantly tweak the vehicle's characteristics to suit your needs. It's called AMG Dynamic Select and offers you the choice of controlled efficiency, Sport, Sport Plus and Individual. There's another manual function to the gearbox allowing the driver full control while using paddles mounted behind the tire. Upgrading on the Mercedes-AMG GTS Coupe. Customers plumping with the GTS model obtain fair share of additional kit. The alloy wheels are slightly wider at top and 1 inch bigger at the back, measuring 20 inches in diameter. There's an electronically controlled differential for additional accurate cornering, adaptive suspension to tune the auto's character more specifically for the task on hand, and larger brakes. The brake calipers have red lettering within the GTS, and also the other method to spot one may be the black front spoiler. It's body colored for the GT. Faster and wider, the Mercedes-AMG GTC Coupe. Introduced in 2017, the GTC is 57 mm wider than lesser models, making room for any wider track and wheels for better traction. It also features rear wheel steering as standard as well as alloys which might be 19 inches wide at the top and 20 inches at a corner. We think this version could be the best from the lineup for fast road driving. The GTR below is impressive around the race circuit, but a tad too hard-edged for road use. Ultimate performance, the Mercedes-AMG GTR. Available only being a coupe, and other versions may be orders to be a roadster too. The GTR represents the top that AMG can provide for driving enthusiasts. It was introduced together with the C in 2017. It uses technology borrowed in the firm's racing cars, including active aerodynamics and wider still back and front track widths. You'll also spot one out of a crowd of GT coupes by its carbon fiber roof, yellow brake calipers and AMG bucket seats. Compact AMG interior. The cabin itself incorporates a wide central console, but it really isn't cluttered. Rather, you will discover selected buttons situated within the roof as an aircraft. The multimedia technique is familiar off their Mercedes products and is also based around the command system, utilizing an 8.3-inch screen to show off information. As standard, additionally, you get sports seats along with a sports steering wheel that has a flat bottom. The paddles for shifting gears are made of aluminum, only to remind you it is a premium product. You'll notice a liberal smattering of AMG badges for precisely the same reason. As will be the norm with Mercedes vehicles, a suite of safety systems is additionally on board. The verdict. No matter which version you select, the GT Coupe is undoubtedly an exciting race car with the looks to suit. It's hard-edged as opposed to equivalent 911, but probably fractionally more exciting on top of that, and stacks up well against similarly priced types. Mercedes-AMG GT Coupe Review. We've already talked about this engine within the C63 portion of the Mercedes-Benz class review, so it's not surprising Mercedes-AMG GT Coupe performance is impressive, regardless which version in the turbocharged 4.0-liter V8 engine you choose to buy. Upon launch there was two models, the GT with 460 horsepower and 600 Nm, making 4,062 miles per hour in 4 seconds with top speed of 189 miles per hour, and also the GTS, that have 505 horsepower and 650 Nm. This meant 062 miles per hour in 3.8 seconds and 193 miles per hour flat out. Facelift for 2017. The range was reshuffled in January 2017, with a lot more power for your two base models as well as a further two specifications introduced with the upper end, GTC and GTR. Mercedes-AMG GT Coupe. This base model has 476 horsepower and 600 Nm of torque, and that is available from just 1,600 revolutions per minute, lasting until 5,000 revolutions per minute. That means that despite the fact this coupe can accelerate from 062 miles per hour in only 4 seconds, but it really is incredibly flexible in gear too, so that you don't ought to constantly swap ratios with the 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. You'll happily do it though, since extending the hand-built V8 past 5,000 revolutions per minute can be an oil treat, especially when lifting away from the throttle to allow the revs die down and being bombarded from the pops and bangs through the dual exhausts. Especially using the active exhaust system set to its louder position plus the AMG Dynamic Select to use most aggressive mode. Mercedes-AMG GTS Coupe. The AMG GTS comes with an extra 47 horsepower within the standard AMG GT, plus another 50 Nm of torque. The latter is currently developed more than a slightly narrower power band between 1,750 revolutions per minute and 4,750 revolutions per minute. As you move, the former is transmitted for the road at 6,250 revolutions per minute as opposed to 6,000 revolutions per minute. It feels every inch as powerful as those numbers suggest, with the official 0.62 miles per hour duration of 3.8 seconds and also a 193 miles per hour electronically limited top speed. The standard car tops out at 189 miles per hour. A planted throttle is undoubtedly an oral wall of V8 rumble, a deep-chested sound not augmented by sound symposers like some rivals, which feels more old school than you may be expecting. Turn off of the stability and traction control systems plus the AMG GTS and standard GT will happily leave its mark about the tarmac under full throttle starts. Also it feels every inch the junior supercar hot rod in their acceleration. Mercedes-AMG GT Coupe. This will be the best model for performance road car fans. It has 557 horsepower and 680 Nm for 0.62 miles per hour and 3.8 seconds, but for the road the additional torque to be had means it feels far more flexible during normal driving. Mercedes-AMG GTR. At the feisty end with a spectrum weave the GTR, which Mercedes states is a racing car for road use. On the highway we found its hyper-responsive plus a little unruly. The traction control light was illuminated for nearly the entire time we had been driving. The GTR definitely works better around the racetrack. 7-speed automatic gearbox. There's merely the one gearbox available for that Mercedes-AMG GT Coupe, no matter power output. Also it's Mercedes' familiar 7-speed dual-clutch automatic employed in other AMG models. That means it's generally a civilized affair with smooth and decisive shifts. Community doesn't react quite as quickly as we'd like under manual inputs. In the event you're too slow about the up change, there's an opportunity you'll encounter the limiter, and down changes will often be met that has a computer says no if the vehicle deems you might be too close on the rev limiter. You can choose between Comfort, Sport and Sport Plus to the gearbox modes, and GTS cars upwards provide an extra race mode for faster shifts, which can be tied in the AMG Dynamic Select controller for all of the other drive modes. This is saved for outright power, exactly what the Mercedes-AMG GT Coupe is about, plus it's significantly the equal of that contemporary rivals. Which means in case you fancy something somewhat different to some Porsche 911 or Jaguar F-Type, next the car really should be on your own short list. On the cars we've driven there's a number of suspension modes available, but even during comfort the AMG GT feels stiff. Additionally, on the long motorway haul you'll see the expansion gaps from the asphalt, together with white lines and catch eyes. Stiff but sensational handling. The payoff for this really is near perfect body control when driving the Mercedes on the favorite twist of back road. Body roll lasts almost non-existent by having an almost flat attitude to additional steering lock and acceleration. And not surprisingly car's weight and comparative size many times, it feels far wieldier compared to dimensions might connect you with suggest. With accurate but light steering, along with a seating position seemingly just forward of the back axle, this sports car pivots neatly around your hips, and yes, it's simple to determine the forces the chassis, and people chunky rear tires, operate against. In the dry grip is impressive. Though much right foot round a bend soon reminds you of the car's potency and power to surprise. That stated, it is equipped with electronic stability control and will run using this fully engaged, or perhaps sport mode to reduce its electronic noise on proceedings, this halfway house allowing greater exploitation of the auto before it cuts in and reins inside the fun. turn it each of the way off along with the AMG GT reveals itself like a hot rod tire smoker on the highest order, which is great fun for the people confident enough for more information on its abilities to normal. Clever chassis technology. All versions have a very locking differential on the back axle, however the standard GT works on the mechanical differential and also the GTS upwards utilize an electronic unit instead. They'll help trim your line round most, minimizing unwanted spinning with the inside wheel, though the electronic product is said to react quicker plus more effectively. The same could be said with the suspension. GT models get non-adaptive sports dampers, while all the versions get AMG ride control adaptive units that enable a SP watch of settings from comfort by means of rock-hard race. All GT coupes come with carbon ceramic brakes as standard, that offers decent feel and many more impressive stopping power, without the need of let-up in performance within the road. Rear wheel steering on GTS, GTC and GTR. Optional for the AMG GTS and standard on C and R, rear wheel steering helps to make the vehicle more maneuverable at low speeds, helping with stability when going quicker. You can feel this working. Without commencing too much technical detail, it effectively simulates a far harder tire for the outer rear wheel so the auto rolls less visiting corners. Choose the AMG GTS model upwards and there's the use of dynamic engine and transmission mounts, counteracting the natural movement with the components during high-speed cornering to hold unexpected weight transfer into a minimum. The Mercedes-AMG GT Coupe within the racetrack. On circuit, the Mercedes-AMG GTS can be a spectacularly rewarding car, having an agile and fluidly adjustable chassis bolted to a great monster of the engine. The relatively lightweight steering setup does little to inspire confidence when cornering at higher miles per hour, but on account of its balance and poise the GTS is still effective at lapping at a relatively good speed. It's surprising how big the automobile feels when lapping a timely circuit, including Goodwood, amplified with the fact you're perched low and must peer along the massive bonnet. We were very impressed together with the electronic intervention with regard to traction and stability control setups. When switching into race mode, the Mercedes-AMG GTS becomes an angry-sounding supercar with impressive cornering capability. See and hear what are the Mercedes-AMG GTS is similar to around the historic Goodwood circuit here. However, we've also driven the GTR around the circuit and discovered an auto that's considerably more capable than most drivers is ever going to claim being. To say it's lively is undoubtedly an understatement. It's incredibly tail-happy driven with all of the electrical systems dialed back. But in case you're achieving this, then you are able to control the wayward buttocks somewhat using the racing car spec adjustable traction control system. To take advantage of this, you switch away from the standard AMG system altogether, after which control the amount intervention you need via a small rotary knob slightly below the air vents for the dash. The very first thing to strike you, almost literally, when sliding into the trucker's seat on the Mercedes-AMG GT Coupe could be the windscreen and ways in which upright it's slim and wide. It provides wide-screen pillar box-style view in the world ahead, a new entirely dominated with the ever-stretching bonnet in this hot rod performance car. It's a view measured equally in intoxication and trepidation. Not so much room inside. Close the doorway and you'll find your fingers pinched between door card and seat side when adjusting some of the settings. It's no issue, or simply a hazard, but it really feels like Mercedes ergonomics masters could have squeezed some more millimeters of room for one's digits being entirely comfortable in that area. If you own the vehicle, you'll only get it done the once anyway, because of memory settings. It's all to the super-wide transmission tunnel, which extends itself far back to the cabin and pushes occupants on the outside of your vehicle's extremities. It adds for the sense of brutal occasion, but doesn't do much for your driving position, mainly because it also offsets the pedals. At least the seat adjusts nice and low to the floor of the auto. Built for right-hand drive markets. The ergonomics still take a hammering once you begin to take advantage with the variable exhaust, gearbox modes, as well as adjust the stereo volume. Those buttons are typically placed within the far side of the transmission tunnel, even though the adjustable damper button on the motive forces side of exactly the same requires double-jointed elbows to arrive at, such as its proximity for a left hip. The tiny gear lever seems at odds with your vehicle's attitude too. And we still can't get used towards the command controller, which isn't as intuitive to work as BMW's iDrive or Audi's MMI touch system, in spite of the smartphone-style input commands. The 8.4-inch tablet-style screen splits opinion, though for people we're proud of its looks, position and clarity, as the leather-clad dash and Alcantara controls of our test model looked great. Some cheaper-feeling switchgear. It's only a shame some from the switchgear felt a bit lightweight, the air vents especially lacking the solid tactility that their appearance suggested, along with the main instruments didn't appear more special, and much easier to watch. But, for anyone issues, the Mercedes-AMG GT Coupe still appears like a special place to get, by having an ambience admittedly mostly created from the view along that wide, flat and long bonnet that rivals struggle to complement. If you want to guarantee the Mercedes-AMG GT Coupe is just as comfortable as it is usually, the new leader ought to buy the GTS or specify the optional AMG Ride Control adaptive dampers to the standard GT model. These allow users to pick from 3 pre-selected modes for your suspension's reactions: Comfort, Sport and Sport Plus. Even with this particular system, we've yet to test one on standard suspension. The Mercedes-AMG GT Coupe is within the firm side from the comfort scale, possibly exacerbated with the 19-inch front and 20-inch rear alloy wheels. Plenty of road noise. To be fair though, its rivals exhibit the same ride quality. Also, it isn't alone in transmitting a lot of road roar into the cabin due to wide wheel and tire combination. It's a race car, so you'd expect some engine and exhaust noise, and here the AMG GT performs admirably, settling into a quiet cruise over a constant throttle but emitting a purposeful rumble under hard acceleration. And save to get a seat base that didn't offer enough angle adjustment for starter's tester, the seats are perfectly comfortable, despite their thin, bucket-like stature. There's ample adjustment electric available, and being able to beneficial desired position into your memory is useful when you have many irregular driver. Choose to shell out your hard-earned over a Mercedes-AMG GT, as well as a large chunk of these cash is going about the heart of your vehicle. The hand-built V8 engine developed on the firm's Affalterbach factory and assembled entirely by a single person. Having stated that, with prices approaching 6 figures, perhaps the entry-level Mercedes-AMG GT possesses a comprehensive amount of standard equipment. Standard Mercedes-AMG GT Coupe equipment. On the outdoors, the Mercedes-AMG GT is distinguished by 19-inch alloy wheels, silver brake calipers, single-over radiator grille, LED headlamps, as well as an electrically operated rear spoiler. You'll hear the AMG Performance exhaust system, which uses butterfly valves with the idea to suppress or amplify the sound on the engine based on situation and driver input. This car is sold with AMG Sports suspension, a mechanical limited-slip differential and carbon ceramic disc brakes. Inside there's heated AMG Sport seats finished in black Nappa leather, as will be the AMG Performance leader, as the memory package ensures the steering column and seating positions returns for a saved settings when using the vehicle. Climate control keeps your vehicle at the desired temperature, while cruise control takes the load out of long motorway drives. Entertainment is taken care of with a command online system with 8.4-inch color display with CD player, Bluetooth connectivity, DAB radio, 10 GB hard disk drive for music and external device inputs. There's also SATNAV with live traffic information. Standard Mercedes-AMG GT Coupe equipment. Choose the Mercedes-AMG GT model and equipment levels be handed a subtle upgrade, consisting of an electronic in lieu of mechanical limited slip differential, an added drive mode race with the AMG Dynamic Select controller alongside AMG Ride Control adaptive damping. A lithium-ion battery fractionally reduces weight too. Inside the controls is trimmed in leather and Alcantara, while away from GTS is distinguished by larger brakes and red lettering within the calipers. The rear wheels grow by an inch to 20 inches in diameter too. Standard Mercedes-AMG GT Edition 50 Coupe equipment. When it was introduced in 2017, the GTC had rear wheel steering as standard along using a 57 wider rear enabling wider wheels. It got 19-inch front and 20-inch rear wheels along using a Burmester audio system, parking sensors, a reversing camera, keyless ignition, a leather tire and red brake calipers. Standard Mercedes-AMG GTR Coupe equipment. The range-topping GTR was already released at exactly the same time because the GTC, and had a similar wide body though with further aerodynamic modifications to leading bumper as well as the introduction associated with an active rear spoiler. It also got a carbon fiber roof, yellow brake calipers, sports bucket seats plus a high-performance tire trimmed in the Alcantara-type material. Optional Mercedes-AMG GT Coupe extras. As is typical with Mercedes-AMG products, you may dig deep and personalize your Mercedes-AMG GT model with a good amount of optional extras including single options and package additions. The premium package adds a reversing camera, panoramic sunroof, Burmester upgraded sound system, keyless go and Parktronic parking assist. 4 AMG interior trim packages can be found, while 7 different alloy wheel designs cater for just a wide range of tastes. The AMG Dynamic Plus package has dynamic engine and gearbox mounts to heighten control at extreme speeds while you are able to clad the monstrous engine in carbon fiber should you wish to exhibit your bay. In fact, the AMG carbon fiber package extends to considerably more than that, even though the night package changes the outer trim to high shine black. Optional Mercedes-AMG GTR Coupe extras. A variety of specific options were presented in 2017, like the track package such as a 4-point harness, fire extinguisher and roll cage finished in black or the identical color as being the body at further cost. There's a higher performance ceramic braking system being offered, better seats including a memory function and heating, and green hell magno paint, an exclusive launch color with the GTR. It's unlikely to ever be tested by Euro NCAP due to the low-volume nature, but Mercedes-AMG GT Coupe aspects likely to become rated highly. The firm simply doesn't make unsafe cars. And while many cars get by with only a driver's side knee bag, the AMG GT even has one about the passenger side. There's front and side airbags head and pelvis for both occupants too. Should you would like to avoid an impact inside the first place, there's carbon ceramic brakes fitted as standard, alongside adaptive brake assist to improve reaction times and pedal pressure under extreme situations. Traction and stability control should assist you keep your AMG GT about the blacktop too. And in the event you're failing to pay attention, the driving assistance package includes adaptive cruise control and collision prevention assist plus along with lane keeping assist and blind spot assist. The pre-safe system anticipates any impact and will pretension the seat belts, Move the passenger seat into a safer position and close the windows too. You must put your kit from the boot, as space from the cabin is distinctly lacking. The glove box is small along with the door pockets ridiculously slim. There's a couple of cup holders forward on the gear lever, as well as a small lidded cubby behind it, but after those that's your lot. And while there's ample head and legroom, the wide transmission tunnel, thick pillars and shallow windscreen might make the cabin feel claustrophobic for occupants. The GT Coupe isn't the best car to park. It's a diverse car and you're sat minimal down, which implies you cannot see the corners of these incredibly long bonnet. The windscreen pillar is extremely wide too, and yes, it's hard to see much out in the back window. The precise height and width of your GT depends around the specification. The faster models, the GTC and GTR, possess a bigger gap involving the wider rear wheels for better traction, are lower and still have extended bodywork for improved aerodynamics. This means they're wider, longer and lower versus the standard GT Coupe. However, the greater models will come with parking sensors plus a reversing camera as standard, which works some method to alleviating this issue. If you're looking to regularly carry plenty of luggage, might we advise a Mercedes-Benz A-Class estate could be a better bet, but should you're seeking just an extended weekend away, Mercedes-AMG GT practicality might surprise you. For a start, this sleek coupe is endowed which has a large tailgate plus a long, flat 285-liter boot space. Forgo the use from the luggage cover and pack it to your window and you'll add another 65 liters for it tally. It's worth noting folding the spine seats of an Porsche 911 and while using the extra space provided helps it be slightly more capacious, plus the AMG GT is often a strict two-seater only.